Today, we're going to talk about a very important topic. This is a topic I talk about with every single new team I work with because I think it's one of the key ideas that players and the coaching staff have to understand to work effectively. But here's the disclaimer. If you are the kind of person that gets bored when the video is a bit slow and you leave after 1 minute of watching it, this is not the video for you. You can leave. For everyone else, the video will be slow. But if you stick it through, I think there is a very important lesson that you can learn as a coach or a player or even a management member. So, if you're ready to go, let's go. The topic we're going to discuss today is diffusion of responsibility. Some of you may know what it is, some of you may not. But today we're going to learn what it is, and we're going to learn how to apply it in real life, but also how to apply it in League of Legends. And we're going to start with a video, and actually two videos. I'm going to talk over both of the videos. So let's start with this one. Those are the videos from an experiment. And in the first one, you can see a lady in the black that is conducting the experiment. And there's another lady who is sitting alone in the room. And, she's currently filling the paperwork, and she's the one that we're studying to see what she's going to do. And as you guys can see, there's a smoke coming from under one of the doors. And what does she do? She stands up, she instantly goes there to inspect the situation, and once she realizes this is actual smoke, she even leaves her stuff and leaves. And it was a very fast process. So here is another example, another video from the same study. This guy is sitting in a room full of people. And all the people are actors. They're actually being paid to be passive and not as responsive. And the guy is the one we're studying, the guy with the newspaper. Once again, he sees the smoke, he stands up, and he walks up to the door. He inspects the situation, and he realizes that this is actual smoke. So what he does is, he looks back. He looks at the people for a short while and he starts walking to the door. Just as he is about to leave, what happens is he starts looking at the people and he starts looking at how they are responding. But they are being passive. He even opens the door for a moment, but he keeps looking at the people and he keeps looking at what they're going to do. Those people are strangers. And he doesn't know how to judge them. He doesn't know what to do. And he's the only guy that seems to be feeling the dangerous situation rising up. Because smoke does lead to fire. But it seems like those people are not agreeing with him. And what he ends up doing is he ends up comforting to them and sitting back down, even though in his own head, he wanted to leave. And as you guys can see, it took him over 12 minutes to actually leave the place. Because at a certain point he got so stressed that he just decided to leave, even though all the other people stayed there. What is diffusion of responsibility? You guys probably already get the idea from watching the videos. But the strong definition is it's a phenomenon whereby a person is less likely to take responsibility for action or inaction when other bystanders or witnesses are present. So what does it mean? It basically means if there's more people around you, you are less likely to act, to do things, just as we saw in the videos, right? There was a lady who was by herself and she left the room very, very quickly. And there was a guy who clearly knew what was happening, but didn't leave because there was so many people around him that were staying in the same room that he felt the pressure to stay in the room himself, even though he knew the situation could be very dangerous. So, what diffuses and what escalates responsibility? We already know what diffuses it, right? High number of people that are present means that there's more diffusion. Present people being strangers, this guy didn't know any of them. It makes it more difficult to relate to them, right? It makes it a bit weird, right? What if I do something weird, they judge me? Also, people being passive, not responsive. As you guys could see, those are actors. Probably real people would realize it's smoke and leave with him, right? But because they were told to act in a passive manner and not respond to him as much, he also felt the pressure that, well, maybe I'm in the wrong. And he stayed. And situation considered as safe. If you feel that something is safe, you can leave it to someone else. Maybe if it was fire, he would have left. But it's just smoke, maybe those people know better, I can stay with them. So now the question is, what escalates the responsibility, right? Well, low number of people is the opposite of what diffuses it, right? Lady was alone, no one else to look up to, no one else to confirm with. She made her own judgment. If you know the people that are present, you know generally how they act. You know you can trust them more. And therefore it's easier to make decisions. Therefore it's easier to act. And also it's easier to read them. Also, people being active and responsive to what's happening. I will show you another video now because I find it very interesting. There is an example of a lady pretending to feel bad. She's pretending to be sick. She's laying on the stairs, and also you guys might notice that she looks decent. Her clothing doesn't look like a clothing of a homeless person. She looks like a normal lady having a problem, maybe some health issue. And you guys can see that she's been laying there for quite some time as the timer is showing. So for now, people are passing by and they're not sure what to do. And now this lady is looking at her. She knows something is happening, right? She's about to pass. She's about to keep going. But suddenly, one other person comes up. They come up and they're checking. What happens next? This guy comes up, and then the lady that was looking and unsure comes up too. And she also joins in to help. I find it very interesting that, maybe if one person was active, in this example here, maybe nothing like this would be happening. Maybe the guy would have left, right? Because if someone else noticed the smoke, then it's so much easier to make this decision together than it is to make it alone. Because if you make it alone, you're the one that is acting weird. You're the one that is not doing what everyone else is doing, right? So the last part is situation being considered as dangerous. If you see that something big might happen, you're more likely to act. If maybe it was fire, as I said before, and not smoke, maybe more people will be acting. But just because it's smoke, maybe those people that are sitting down know what they're doing. Maybe I'm just gonna stay here. Low chance I'm gonna die. At least I'm not gonna embarrass myself. Just what it all comes down to is more uncertainty means that there is a higher chance of diffusion. So think of this example. You're on a train. Very likely it happens to you before. You're on a train and you're going somewhere. And you want to leave the train at the last station, but there's someone sleeping right next to you. And the question now is, you're just coming to the last stop. Should you wake this person up or should you not? In theory, you should. This is the last stop. The person should be leaving the train. But maybe they're pretending to sleep. Maybe they want to keep going and do something. Maybe they're homeless and they want to keep going round and round and round in a warm train. There's a lot of things that can be happening. And this uncertainty means that, maybe you leave the person alone so you don't disturb them. And this is it. The more uncertain the situation is, the more likely you are to diffuse the responsibility. It's like, I'm not gonna act on it. Someone else is gonna do something about it. But then the next person says the same thing. And it goes on and on and on. So now, this is the spectrum I kind of created. You guys can see what diffuses it is strangers, sense of safety, more people, and passive approach. And what escalates responsibility is sense of danger, friends, less people being there, and active approach. So, How do we apply it in practice? And how do we start applying it in League of Legends? We are a new team after all. That's what the presentation is for new teams. So it's important that we start knowing the people that are present here. When you start talking to the people here, be accepting and open-minded, but not afraid to argue and argue your position. What I mean by this is like, if you are friendly, but open to discuss certain topics, it means that people won't be as afraid to talk. You're friendly, but you're open for discussion. This means that people will always be happy to discuss with you. And this means that the team will always keep improving because everyone will be happy to participate. Aim to decrease demands of taking on responsibility. Oftentimes, people don't want to shot call in teams because if they make the wrong call, people will be judging them. And in reviews, they will be saying, this guy said something and it was a wrong call and we all committed to it and we lost the game because of it. Well, someone had to call it. The guy at least did it. So don't be a dickhead and fucking, let him do it. If he's the only one doing it, at least judge the call, don't judge the person, okay? So it's important to increase the demands of taking responsibility. If someone takes on the responsibility, discuss the call, but not the person, right? That's important. Then it's so much easier to discuss those things. And you might say, if this guy is so mentally strong. Yeah, he is. But we might have to deal with this every single day for fucking half a year. It might get really, really difficult to keep hearing the same annoying points all the time. Make sure it's easy to hear them, so the person keeps taking the responsibility you are not willing to take yourself. How to apply it in practice even more? You need to be active. You need to be responsive. Be the first one to speak up. As you guys could see in the example in the video, once the working guy, came up to the lady, another person followed. It's the same here. If we see a problem in our team, it's very important that one person speaks up. You might be the only one that sees it. Oftentimes people say, it's so obvious, I don't have to talk about it. Well, oftentimes it turns out that it wasn't obvious. Neither all the other players, neither the coaches, neither anyone else saw the problem. Maybe the problem, you can see it now because you play a specific role in the team and you're the first one to see it. But if you don't speak up, you will keep getting more and more and more annoyed. Why do we not do anything with it? But the team might not even know the problem exists in the first place. So yeah, share the information you think is important. We all have different perspectives. And yeah, situation being considered as dangerous is a strong mindset to have. It might be dangerous for some because it might be overwhelming. But at a certain point, you need to realize that practice, our scrims, it what defines our performance. And performance defines our results. So sometimes it's easy to think to yourself, I see this problem in our team, but it's just a scrim. And I don't have to say it. It's okay. I will say it the next week if it keeps happening. But then on this week, we didn't talk about it. We didn't realize it was a problem. We go on stage and someone beats us. And because they beat us, we start losing. Maybe, it has a snowball effect. People start worrying. What are we not doing? And, it might be too late. Speak up instantly. Practice defines performance. Performance defines results. The homework I will give to you guys is finding 3 examples of role-specific communication that you can think of. Because oftentimes, when we are in game, people don't say things, right? But they should be. I'm gonna give you some examples now. AD carries very, very often should be calling huge power spikes that can decide a team fight. When they get them or when they are about to get them, preferably. Top laners oftentimes should be calling if they start winning on side lanes. There are a lot of examples like this, and you guys should think of 3 of them for each role. For example, if you play top, what 3 examples of role-specific communication can you give us? And I will just say, it's not just about League of Legends. It applies to life. As we saw, if you're annoyed at something, you can talk about it. If you're not getting what you need from your teammates, from your management, from your coaches, talk about it. If you don't talk about it, very likely no one will. But if you do, other people will follow.